Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is a 2023 horror film set in an alternate reality where Christopher Robin is grown up setting off to go to college, and basically he abandons his wilderness friends, Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger, and Piglet. And because of that, they end up needing to survive on their own in the wilderness, and the intro explains that, where they end up becoming malnourished and they have to find ways to feast and just live and survive. So they ultimately end up ganging up on Eeyore and eating him to death. And then that ends up transforming all of them into hideous monsters and beasts in the wilderness of 100 acres. And then the plot basically starts 5 years later. Christopher Robin and his wife go back to the woods to find them, basically for him to interact them with her, and he ultimately finds out that they're completely changed and deformed. And it's basically a film about Pooh and Piglet being survivalists in the woods and basically mass murdering every single person that goes around in their woods. And my personal opinion on this film is it's awful. It's one of, if not the worst film I have ever watched. The beginning of this film sets up the fact that Christopher Robin abandoned them and Pooh and Piglet are just kind of sadistic serial killers at this point. And then it goes into the actual plot of four girlfriends who go to camp for a weekend or so because the one went through a traumatic experience with a stalker. And then in typical 2023 slasher fashion, they all end up just getting decapitated and hacked and slashed every which way. And honestly, at first I thought this was gonna be a very woke, very girl-empowered film because it was centered around four girlfriends, but then I come to realize that it's actually the exact opposite. There's nothing empowering towards these women. These women are shit characters. Their acting is shit. That doesn't even have to do anything with them being females. They're just shitty actors. They're terrible at their jobs. The special effects department, I will say that the gory scenes look fine, but that's just because the filming of this god-awful film is actually adequate enough. At the beginning of this film, after the intro, I honestly really enjoyed the filmmaking because the cinematography and the filming of it, they're actually pretty damn good for a shitty film like this. But then as the film goes on and trods along, I realized that that was actually a deterror and a deter for this film as well. This film is so well made for such a shit film, it really starts to make it feel just super pretentious, like they're offering a plate of golden shit, but really all it is just shit on the ground. And they're trying to portray it as golden shit on a plate served by a rich, famous butler. And as I said, the acting is absolute god-awful. The entire film's premise is god-awful. Everything is cliche about it. To simplify it, think of the intro of Scary Movie 1, where it was a spoof of Scream's intro, where the hot chick finds out that Ghostface is attacking her, so she goes to the stand in that hallway, and she sees four items: knife, gun, grenade, and banana. Picks up the banana and starts running away. Imagine that, now multiply that and enlarge it by about an hour and 22 minutes of stupidity without the comedic effects involved, and that's where you get Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Literally every single minute of this film, every single scene, I picked the fuck apart of. Every single scene, every single bit of writing, every single bit of momentum and motivation, everything was borderline retardation and just stupid. This is the dumbest film I've ever watched, at the very least. The writing is fucking terrible. The costumes, even though I appreciate that they used mostly practical effects with costumes instead of CGI, it all still looks so bad. You can clearly tell that everybody is designed in costumes or just makeup is all fuck, like they just, every girl looks like a giant whore in this film just waiting to be slaughtered. And then that also brings me into the character writing and the character stories. They have one main story where the main girl was traumatized in the past by a stalker that ended up invading her home while she slept and basically tried to rape her. But even that story is just so dull and stupid and poorly written, not even fleshed out at all. It went through not even 5 minutes worth of the story. And then we have all the other characters where one is a ditzy, stupid whore that just sits in a hot tub her entire story, taking selfies of herself, and then realizes that there's somebody in the background watching her. And instead of doing anything, even just getting up and walking away or running away, no, she just continues sitting there doing absolutely fucking nothing until the lights start flickering that she turned on, and it shows the close-up and of Winnie the Pooh zooming in on her to basically slaughter her. Now, think of that scene as well, and that's literally every single death scene. Every single death scene you can pick a part of. For example, an even better, dumber death scene involves a swimming pool inside of the house, inside of the cabin, which is the richest cabin I've ever fucking seen, to be quite honest. But anyway, these two girls from the group separate from the other part of the group, and they're getting brutally stalked by Winnie the Pooh, and it involves, I can barely remember because it was god awful. The one girl is on the ground getting stalked and everything, and the other girl is basically in the swimming pool, not even swimming, just standing there screaming about all of it happening. And whenever Pooh gets finished with the one, he starts going after the other, and instead of seeing that he's on the other side of the swimming pool, instead of getting up and jumping out of the other side to run away, no, she literally just stands there in the pool of water, waiting for him to come in to then stalk her in the water. And even then, her form of swimming, which we're talking like college girls, like 18 to 20s, and you're telling me that these bitches don't know how to swim? Come on, I don't buy it whatsoever. To sum it all up as an overall, this film is terrible. It is the worst film I've ever watched. I hate that I paid extra for basically a special Wednesday evening screening, just because it was the evening. And I try to always watch movies as early as possible to get my reviews out for you guys. But overall, this film isn't even worth $1. It's worth nothing from your pockets. It's not even worth a rental. It's nothing. The writing is shit awful. The acting is shit awful. The costumes, the props, the designs, shit awful. The only credibility this film has is the filmmaking of it. And even then, because the filming is of a shit awful film, it ends up making it very pretentious from the filmmaking alone. So honestly, I hated this film. 10 minutes into it, I was looking at my phone because there was nothing interesting going on already. And then I got to the very end, and there was a cliffhanger, and people were chanting for a sequel, and I just sat there cringing, and I hated every single second of this film. I'm glad that it was only 1 hour and 20 minutes. Honestly, I wish it were only like 40 minutes. And even then, I would not watch it again. So overall for me, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is a 0 out of 10. Thank you.